I agree with you all about short-living success if you lied about your experience. I mean, at some point, even if you get a job, if you can't demonstrate, that's going to impact you, right? Like it's going to create a lot of stress. It's going to start realizing that, this is way above my ability. Here's another curveball here because a lot of people started to use that, and there's a limited number of jobs these days. A lot of people who don't, they feel like they're getting penalized. There's not much way they can really trick their system because, on the one hand, they have ethical rules and they never break. Right? They don't write anything that is not true. They don't tweak things in words because they feel like that's not necessarily what they've done. But at the same time, they don't get interviews. So, what would be your recommendation to these individuals?
So if I'm understanding your statement correctly, you're saying that people aren't getting interviews because people are using AI essentially
Yes.
being up by the system to get ahead of the line versus anyone.
So some people that are actually applying, they don't tweak these things,
True.
and versus those that do and they getting interviews. Well, assumption because they fit better, right? And to your point, if there is a company that has a limited recruiting resources that won't go through like Kyle did, 500
Mhm.
resumes, right? Like they're gonna just use the ATS or whatever comes up top. It's the best. Boom, bring them in. And I feel like there's a lot of candidates right now on the market. They just wonder, okay, what should I do? They're torn, right? Do I go with that bad practice or I stick to what I believe is the right way? And I don't do that.
I think here's the better question is, are those people getting the job? Right? It's one thing to get the interview. I get that. You're skipping the line, you get the interview, but the question, what everyone's trying to get to is get the job. So if you're saying that doing that has helped me get the job, now well, granted, you have to have the interview in order to get the job. So I get that. But that would be my question because once again, if you're doing things to tweak it to help, okay, maybe instead of using the word, I built,
I deployed.
exactly, right? So things like that, sure. But at some point, you still have to talk about how you deployed it, right? How you went about doing it, and does it fit with what we're looking for as a company? So I don't know. And once again, I probably have to be at a bigger company to have a true answer to that question because I'm only working with smaller stage companies. But I think if I had to go back, like if I was at Palo Alto Networks, we're still going to interview the candidate. Is there a culture add, right? So there's still
Right.
elements that we still have to go through. And ultimately, are we going to hire this person? So yeah, you could gamify it, get to the head of the line, but are you getting the job? I guess that's more important to me than just gamifying your resume.
What I would tell people at a high level is just don't compromise your own values and integrity. I know it may be painful. You may feel like there's a lot of short term pressure, but I'm a little old fashioned. I think there's one time where I'm not exaggerating. When I was actually a candidate being interviewed, I got a phone call. I was in a parking lot at the time. They said, "Hey, we want to extend you the offer. Can you log into your computer and go on DocuSign and sign it?" I go, "I'm about to be off the grid for the next 3 weeks. Like, I'm not going to have access to a computer. You're just going to have to take me at my word that I will sign the offer." And they go, "Oh, I don't know about that." I go, "I'm giving you my word. Like, I will show up when I say I will. In 3 weeks, I will sign the offer. So you just have to trust me." And I think, to a degree, I would encourage people who are in that position, Demetrius, to feel similarly. Don't compromise your
Yeah,
values for, whatever that short term win is.
I agree.
Which is tough, especially if you've
Yeah.
been someone that's been on the sideline for a little while. I talked to a number of people that have been that way, and it's tough. I mean, you're trying to think of every way possible to get in, and you've used your network, that hasn't worked, and you're applying, and that's not working. And so, I wish there was some magic wand, like my mom used to tell me whenever I got a boo boo that I could just wave and you'd be healed. But it just, it's not how life works sometimes. You want to just deal with the scrape on the elbow, right, until it heals.